No, it's funny that isn't it interesting that the things that we have to learn on our own are always the things that are bad for us. Nobody has to. If I told you, dude, you're jogging every day, don't overdo it. I gotta learn on my own, man. It's never the good stuff that we have to learn on our own. You know, so that tells us that maybe it's not so much that we want to learn on our own, so much as we just want to do stuff, you know, and hope that there's no consequences for it. Which is why that thing is so important in Disney, to wish upon the star, because if you aim for the star, you're going to get there. Are you ever going to get to a star? Not with that attitude. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. What we do know is that the first person to reach a star is going to try to reach a star. In other words, the first person to reach a star is not going to be somebody who wasn't trying. You won't just all of a sudden wake up one day and be like, "What the hell? There's a star right there." There'll be someone who's been striving for it. How many people are gonna fail before we get there? No idea. No idea. But eventually, the person to get there will be someone who's wishing for it, who's trying. Okay. Yeah. So why do we use that same word then? Because it seems like we're drawing a distinction between hoping with action and hoping without action. So why would we not just have different words for with action and without action? I mean, yeah.
Because when they are faced with like the actual reality of how trash life is, it makes it harder. And I get that, but like you need to have hope to be able to actually overcome it.
Why is life so trash?
It just is.
It's just part of what it is for life to exist. Life is just trash.
Like it's inevitable. Everybody goes through hard times and everybody experiences the same life. Whether it's like different parts of the world, but everybody's still experiencing a life and they're all experiencing the same struggle.
Yeah. We all eat cheeseburgers. Aren't some better than others though? No, I wonder because I do hear that a lot. Like from especially like I just hear a lot from people like life is trash, and I think I know where part of that comes from, but I think I'd ask you guys where that might come from. What were you gonna say?
I'm sorry.
I forgive you.
You know?
Why? I guess one of the questions: what would separate like a McDonald's cheeseburger from what we would consider to be a better cheeseburger?
5-star restaurant cheeseburger.
So what separates the two? Like why do we think of McDonald's as being less good and a 5-star as being better?
Because it's a fast food. There are videos online, like, you know, showing how they prepare it really quickly. Yeah, it's producing stuff quicker for more money easily. While people like at 5-star restaurants for the burgers, they enjoy it just a bit more because, you know, it was made with like not love or care, but it has better quality most of the time.
You know McDonald's sells the highest quality of beef you can buy? They do. McDonald's does sell the highest quality of beef you can buy. That's why I asked that question, because it isn't necessarily so much the thing itself, it's our perception of it. Like, so for example, like you're saying that it's about it being fast. You know, because when I asked what's wrong, you know, what's the difference? A few people said, or at least mouthed fast food. So if it's fast, does that mean it's not as good? And that's kind of the essence of it, right? You said it's made with more care. The 5-star restaurant's made more with care. McDonald's is about being fast. So if things that are fast, we associate them as being careless and not as good, I wonder why we're always looking for the fast track to things.
The reason why, I believe it's because it's easier, it's simpler, but if you take the fast track in life, you aren't really gonna enjoy it. That is why a lot of, like from my perspective, that's why a lot of people are kind of, you know, depressed. Because they try to live life quickly. Suicide people. You know?
No, I do know people like that. Like I know that there'll be students who are like, oh, I can't wait to graduate from high school. Why? What are you gonna do after that? You know, like, oh, but because once I get, but then once you graduate from high school, like, oh my God, I can't wait till I'm 21. And then once you're 21, I can't wait until I'm. And then we're always like looking forward to the next thing, and we're not so much enjoying the moment right now.
Because like when you like take the complicated track, you know, like you meet people that you wouldn't like meet if you took the fast track. You actually end up, you know, you're going through all the five stages of grief, but you're actually seeing what life is about. You aren't just focused on just one goal all the time. You're looking at various other things in the world. You're looking like, oh wow, this is a really interesting topic. I kind of want to learn about it. Well, the other person is like, oh, I don't have time to learn about it. I need to do my work. I need to finish everything. I need to be an A+ student. I need to graduate. I need to graduate from this school. I need to get a job. I need to support my family.
So there's an urgency there then, and that's why people will. Yeah. Perhaps what makes it so hard then is that everything that we're saying is really impossible for most of y'all to conceptualize. Because in other words, you haven't been there in life yet. So because you haven't been there in life yet, there's no, let me say it. Like for example, can you know that the fast track will lead you to a less fulfilling life? Yeah, you can know it by talking to people who've tried it and been there, and people have more experience. But it's the kind of thing that you can only learn through experience, which means you can learn it through a person who has had that experience, but you gotta really trust them because that's your whole life that you're gambling on. But it's very difficult for us to trust a person who says the harder way is the better way. You know, we read all the time about how like going through suffering and going through challenges makes us stronger. Like Nietzsche said, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. But I wonder how many of us have been in the midst of suffering and said, this is good, this will make me stronger. You know, probably not. It's really hard when you're in the middle of it to conceptualize it. Afterwards, it's easier, you know, to see, because you can see how you went through it. But even trusting a person who will tell you that, you know, is difficult. You know? I'm gonna say something about that. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I don't think something being harder is always better. Like for example, when you go to a gym, you don't like lift like 10,000 pounds, and that one makes
Speak for yourself.
That one like help. You have to lift something that's good for you, that's right for you, and that eventually you can like progressively overload and a little bit increase the weight over time. It's the same thing about like lifting something too easy. If you lift like 2 pounds, it's not gonna do anything. I think like you need balance.
And that's, by the way, one of the more difficult things as well, because like we were talking earlier about if you're trying to lose weight, I mean, there'll be people who'll be like, so 3,500 calories, and how many do I consume in a day? Most people consume about 2,000 or so. So if I don't eat for 2 days, I'm gonna lose a pound? Yeah. Okay, so if I wanna lose 10 pounds, I just don't eat for 20 days. No, that's not good though. You know, it's kind of like, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym, I wanna get strong. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna bench press 400 pounds your first day in? I mean, if that's your goal, no, you're not going to. If you try it, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get hurt. And then you're gonna be set back and you won't be able to get stronger. You're gonna be on the bench for a long time having to heal. So in other words, we get to a point sometimes where we push ourselves just too far. But also we run the other risk. Most people never even get into the gym in the first place. Most people never get to run a mile in the first place. Most people just kind of have it in their heads like, don't want to, or it's too hard. But if you really understood, like for example, I wonder, somewhere in the world right now, I imagine, there's somebody sitting visiting a doctor, and the doctor is telling them that they've got, you know, a horrible heart condition. And they're gonna have to have surgery to open up the clogged arteries. And this person is overweight, and the doctor is telling them, because of your weight, the surgery is gonna be complicated. Because of this, it's going to be more complicated. Because of your high blood pressure, it's going to be harder for you to recover if you even survive the surgery at all. I wonder if that person looks back over their life and says, but you know what? I ate many a cheeseburger, and this is worth it. There are those people, by the way. There are those people. But I wonder how many of those people are sitting there and going thinking like, oh man, I wish I had done more work. I wish I had run more. I wish I had smoked less. I wish I had eaten better. I wish I had done more physical activity. And then it gets even worse, by the way, if you do end up doing all of those things, And then you find out that the quality of your life just dramatically improves. You have more energy, you have more mental focus, you have more clarity. Everything is better in life when you're that way. Everything works better, everything is perceived better. And then you look back and go, man, I wish I'd been doing this for the last 30 years or so. Yeah. But again, that's one of those things that's hard unless we're willing to learn from other people's experience. And that's a character trait, by the way. Many people are not willing to learn from other people's experiences. When you see somebody who fails, time and time again, or you see people who come along and warn you, hey man, don't be this person, don't do that, we'll say, oh, I have to learn on my own. No man, there's a lot you can learn on your own. You ever go out hiking and let's say you do, and there were berries or a fruit or a plant or something like that, and you're like, I wonder if I can eat this. And if I told you don't, dude, it's poisonous. And you're like, I have to learn on my own. No, it's funny that isn't it interesting that the things that we have to learn on our own are always the things that are bad for us. Nobody has to. If I told you, dude, you're jogging every day, don't overdo it. You gotta learn on my own, man. It's never the good stuff that we have to learn on our own. So that tells us that maybe it's not so much that we want to learn on our own, so much as we just want to do stuff, and hope that there's no consequences for it.